Welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. Now that preseason games are about to tip off in the WNBA, we now understand some things some of us were trying to figure out in the offseason. Whenever we saw Angel Reese getting workouts in outside of Unrivaled, we saw her out on the perimeter taking shots. And a lot of us were saying, okay, why aren't you working on where you're going to be playing in the season? Why aren't you working on something that you struggle with, which is being close to the basket? Why are you all the way out there, especially since you're such a dominant rebounder? One of the things I said was that unless the coach is planning on doing something different with Angel, then we would like to see her working closer to the basket. But that's the key there. There's a new coach in town. And a lot of people have been saying that Kamilla Cardoso was not utilized properly. Now, she was injured at the beginning, but the season is not just the beginning. The season is the season. And a lot of people recognize that Kamilla Cardoso was being pushed back to push Angel Reese forward. Well, Tyler Marsh comes in and already he's making some changes. And when I say already, I'm saying we're hearing about it now. Although, like I said, we were wondering why she was out on the perimeter. But obviously, this has been in the works. Angel probably has been told that before training camp, and that's why she was working on her shot. So now, one of the things I wondered, I'm like, is there going to be a coach who comes in like Tyler Marsh? Is Tyler Marsh going to come in and is going to say, forget the narratives, forget that, Angel Reese has to be, the double person, etc. Will the Sky have a coach who's willing to put all that stuff aside and do what's best for the team, especially after last season with Teresa Weatherspoon, which, if we're going to be honest, and some people are not willing to be, but if we're going to be honest, the truth is what I said numerous times last season, and that is that she wasn't good for the team and she wasn't good for Angel Reese's own development. So now Tyler Marsh apparently has a modified role for Angel. Yard Barker announces Angel Reese reportedly will have a modified role, quote, modified role for Sky in 2025. The article starts out talking about Kennedy Carter, that the Chicago Sky's offense will no longer run through Kennedy Carter. Kennedy is not there, right? I don't know that did the offense really run through Kennedy Carter? I don't know. She came off the bench quite a bit. I don't know if the offense ran through Kennedy. Maybe it should have run through her more. I digress. She's no longer with the team, as we know. She signed with Mexico. So it says new head coach Tyler Marsh is busy installing a different vision for Chicago's offense. The Sky plans to use second-year power forward Angel Reese much differently than how she was deployed in her rookie season. And she averaged 13.1 points, 13.1 rebounds. In an offense where her primary goal was to post up, she made now I didn't say this for the drive-bys, it's in the article, she made just 39.1% of her field goal attempts. And that's where a lot of the criticism comes in, because a lot of those were layups and a lot of the rebounds were from her own misses. Not all of them, but too many of them. Per Julia Poe of the Chicago Sun-Times, Reese has yet to post up at training camp as she learns a new role for the offense. Now, I did a video on their day one, I believe it was, of training camp. And Angel was out on the perimeter. She had done did the backdoor pass. So she wasn't just that one day, apparently, according to Julia Poe. She hasn't posted up at all in training camp. And here's the quote. It says, for Reese, that means adapting to a modified role that will tap into her full potential as a stretch four. I've heard some people say she'll be a point forward, I guess like a Scottie Pippen. We'll have to see what it looks like, but younger folks, you probably like, Scottie who? He played with Michael. Anyway, for Reese, that means adapting to a modified role that will tap into her full potential as a stretch four. This doesn't mean Reese will never post up again. But Marsh understands if the Sky wants to build an effective offense, they need to start by building out space in the half court. Poe wrote that Reese was increasing the use of off-ball cuts and relocating her position constantly to create balance and space in Marsh's offense. Chicago isn't planning on asking Reese to increase her three-point production this season. Okay. What he wants from her is more versatility. It says here he wants her to shoot mid-range jumpers 10 to 15 feet from the basket. She's working on being able to shoot off the dribble and when the play call is for a catch and shoot. And we saw some of that in Unrivaled. We saw her using her dribbling skills, and we saw that in some of her workout videos, that she's off the dribble, trying to pull up and shoot shots, trying to step back and shoot shots. So she thinks it's going to be a transition for her in training camp. Obviously, it has to be a training. It has to be a transition, but she thinks that she'll be able to learn her new skill set easily. So she said, well, what's the point of me working on it if I'm not going to take the shot? The best thing is just to have great teammates and coaches around you that put confidence in you. And I'm a pretty confident person, so I think it's going to be pretty easy. So once again, as the sub-headline says, the Chicago Sky want Reese to take mid-range jumpers. And here it mentions that how easily she masters the offense will determine how successful the Sky will be. This is interesting because a lot of people don't want to be honest when it comes to Angel's game. But it says offense was a sore spot for her as a rookie, and how former head coach Teresa Weatherspoon let Carter delegate it didn't help matters. Well, that's interesting because I wouldn't say that how Teresa Weatherspoon let Carter delegate it didn't help matters. I'm inclined to think that some of Kennedy Carter's frustrations was that they were deferring too much to Angel and not enough for herself and for perhaps for other players. I'm not in the locker room. I just know what we saw. And so I think that there was some frustration there. I think Teresa Weatherspoon's problem was that she was pushing the double-double narrative because she wanted Angel Reese to be the rookie of the year, and she did what she did to the detriment of the team. Be that as it may, it says Reese will still be expected to be a top defender and rebounder. And if her offense ratchets up to the next level, the Sky could be a scary team in September. So with the preseason tipping off tonight, the second game of which is the Chicago Sky taking on the Brazilian women's national team, don't be surprised if you don't see Angel posting up down low, but out on the perimeter and shooting mid-range shots and shooting off the dribble, because apparently this is what Tyler Marsh wants to do. Now, this article I just shared with you did not mention Kamilla Cardoso, I don't believe, but really this is what this boils down to. Get her out of the way, let Kamilla Cardoso, who is 6'7", be utilized properly. Let her play her game because, well, she's probably going to be more efficient under the basket. And this allows Angel Reese to add to her game, to expand her game is the word I'm looking for. And she has told us that, in the younger days, she was a point guard. So she was used to having the ball in her hand. We'll see how it turns out. And I guess preseason is a good time to test it out. But yeah, here's Tyler Marsh. This is what he's going to do. Kamilla Cardoso was probably saying, thank you. There you go. I'll catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.